We all cheat at guitar. I know I cheat at guitar, and I know the best of the best cheat at guitar. You probably cheat at guitar too. And if you don't, I would actually argue that you should start doing this one particular cheat that will help you to switch chords far faster than we would normally be able to do otherwise. Let's say we have a strum pattern like this. Let's say we have B1 is down. Let's say we don't have the upbeat. So when I'm teaching my students here, I just use this little dot to indicate that we're not strumming that upbeat, right? So the next beat would be down again. But we're going to strum that upbeat right away. We're going to skip that downbeat, and we're going to strum, this would be and, 4 and at the end. So that'd be 1, 2 and 4 and 1, 2 and 4 and. Now, one of the challenges of this particular strum pattern is that you can see this upbeat is the and of 4, which means that the next beat 1 is going to come right away, right? And if we happen to have a chord switch at that moment, that's pretty difficult to do at high tempos, especially if it's a chord change that requires us to move our fingers quite a way across the fretboard, right? So to demonstrate, here's what the strum sounds like. It's right? That's just once. If I do it twice through, now here's the problem. If I have to switch all the way to C, my fingers do have to move quite a ways. I can do it at a moderate tempo. Let's see. Sure, not bad, right? But what if the tempo's quite fast? I can do it, but I have to try so hard, and arguably it actually doesn't sound as smooth because I'm rushing to get there, right? And I may even delay my right hand knowing that my left hand is struggling to get there on time. So here's the magic cheat that I recommend that we all learn. And in fact, you might be doing it already without even thinking about it. On that last upbeat, on this little upbeat right here, what we can do is we can actually just let go of all the strings so that that last upbeat has all the strings open. So for example, I'll slow it down so you can hear and see what I mean. It'll be G to C. Right? If I speed that up, now I can go backwards. Now last year I wrote a book called Guitar Strumming Like a Pro, which is available on Amazon, and it has this trick explained in greater detail, plus lots of other tricks that you can use to make your strumming sound more fluid and also just a lot more interesting by changing up the strum patterns and adding some other tricks and licks within your strumming to keep a song interesting so you're not just doing the same thing over and over again. So check that out on Amazon. Link is in the description. Now, I think I figured out this when I was a kid because nobody ever told me this. Nobody ever showed me this cheat. And all those lessons I took, I just figured out that if I wanted to be able to play the song smoothly, especially with my little kid hands, which weren't very fast, that I had to do this little cheat. And so I started doing it. And nobody said anything. Nobody said, "Oh, you shouldn't do that. What about all those empty strings," right? Those empty strings surely don't sound right. But in fact, they are going to sound just fine because if you think about the key of G, which is a very, very common key for guitar, right? Very common. Well, key of G has one sharp. So it's G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp. And now compare that to the notes of our open strings, right? E, A, D, G, B, E. Notice that there's no conflict between the key of G and the open string notes. So while this might not be a very attractive guitar chord, when it's only for this 1 and a 4 upbeat, and the fact that all those notes are actually in the key of G anyway, it doesn't seem to matter, right? In fact, I would argue that that very brief textural change actually sounds kind of cool, right? It just seems to work. And it allows us to be even a little bit lazy. We don't have to rush there, because sometimes when we feel like we have to rush there, it just doesn't sound as smooth. It doesn't sound as cool, right? So if that works in the key of G, does it work in other keys? Well, let's compare. Key of C has what notes? C, D, E, F, G, A, B. No sharps or flats, right? And of course, there's no sharps or flats in any of our open strings. So key of C also works. So we could use it in the key of C. 3 common chords in key of C are C, F, and G. Sounds just fine, right? Now, let's take it a little bit further. I would even argue that in some keys where there is a harmonic conflict, it still doesn't seem to really matter that much. If we take, for example, the key of E has a G sharp in it. That's going to cause conflict with our open G string, right? But if you hear me go from E major to A and do this let go technique, let's see how it sounds. What ends up happening is we end up having a note inside that brief moment that's a G natural that does not belong in the key of E major. But again, it's so brief. The fact that it happens only on this up strum, it doesn't seem to matter, right? Okay, so as bonus, I'm going to give you an extra tip on how to make your chord strums smooth. You can do this cheat, but you could also just remove this last up strum at the moment that you need to make the switch. So I'm not saying that you should alter the strum pattern for the entire song, but when you have to make the switch, you just remove this up strum. So for example, what would that look like? That strum altered will have that beat missing, right? So if I strum the first one and then the second one so that I make my switch on the second one, we don't have to do the let go technique. Right, so that's another great trick. And in fact, mostly, most songs we're playing, we don't really want to strum exactly the same strum pattern the whole time anyway. So having that slight change whenever we're going to switch chords, it doesn't sound like a cheat. It just sounds like a slight difference. We don't even really notice it. We all cheat at guitar. I know I cheat at guitar. I know the best of the best cheat at guitar. And I bet you cheat at guitar to some degree too.